Kindness is the language that the deaf can hear and the blind can see. There is something in this world that does not require sound to be heard, does not need light to be seen, yet everyone can feel it. That is kindness. No matter where you come from, what language you speak, or what social class you belong to, kindness remains the universal language that connects people more profoundly than anything else. This is the message that this quote seeks to convey. Imagine walking down the street one day and encountering a stranger who offers you a warm smile, or someone quietly helping you without expecting anything in return. These small acts, though seemingly insignificant, carry immense power, so much so that even those who cannot hear can still feel it, and those who cannot see can still perceive it with their hearts. Kindness does not need to be explained, nor does it seek grand gestures, yet it touches the deepest layers of the human soul. This quote is not only metaphorical, but also contains a timeless truth. We live in a world filled with eloquent words and complex language, yet sometimes the simplest things hold the greatest impact. A kind act can transcend all barriers of language, geography, or circumstances. When you treat someone with kindness, you do not need words. Your action itself speaks louder than any speech ever could. With a writing style that is both humorous and deeply humanistic, the value of kindness is always emphasized. Kindness is not a luxury. It exists in the smallest moments of daily life, when we give way to someone in a hurry, when we listen to someone who is sad without judgment, when we help someone without expecting anything in return. These actions are never meaningless, for they can become a great source of encouragement for someone in need. In reality, there have been moments when kindness has changed a life. A lost child wandering through life may find hope through a gentle gesture. A person in despair may rediscover the meaning of life through the sincere care of a stranger. Not everyone has the ability to change the world through groundbreaking inventions or great achievements, but anyone can make the world a better place through kindness. However, kindness is not just about how we treat others. It is also about how we treat ourselves. Sometimes we are too harsh on ourselves, blaming ourselves for past mistakes, forgetting that we too deserve forgiveness and the same gentleness we extend to others. Learning to be kind to ourselves is also an important part of this lesson. The question is, does kindness still matter in an increasingly pragmatic and busy world? The answer is yes, because no matter how time passes or how society changes, kindness will never go out of style. In a world where people are increasingly divided by differences, it is kindness that brings us closer together. So if tomorrow you go out and have the opportunity to help someone, just do it, even if it is something small. You may never know how your action has impacted another person, but believe that it can create change, even if only a tiny one. Kindness does not require a specific language, yet it can speak to the whole world. And sometimes, just one kind act is enough to light up a heart. A person with a new idea is always considered a freak until he succeeds. This world has never lacked individuals carrying bold ideas, but the irony is, most of them are met with skepticism, ridicule, and even deemed insane the moment they voice their thoughts. New ideas are always a double-edged sword. They can open up great horizons, but they can also turn their creators into outcasts in society. People do not easily accept differences, especially when those differences challenge deeply ingrained ways of thinking. Imagine one day, you step into a room full of traditionally minded people and tell them you have an idea that could change the world. Chances are, you will be met with sneers, skeptical glances, or worse, cutting mockery. But that does not mean you are wrong. In fact, history has proven that most revolutionary inventions and breakthroughs were once considered absurd before they became reality. The reason a new idea is often labeled as madness is quite simple. Humans tend to cling to what is familiar. They feel safe in their comfort zones, where everything is predefined, where all rules are accepted without question. When someone comes along and says, "I have another way," it is like a knife stabbing into their sense of stability. They resist. They find every way to refute it, and sometimes they attack the idea's creator just to protect their own beliefs. But if everyone hesitated in the face of ridicule, if everyone feared being called a freak, the world would never change. Bridges would never be built over rivers. Airplanes would never take flight. And the inventions that transformed humanity would remain on paper forever. If someone fears opposition from the masses, can they truly persist in pursuing their ideals? Without those who dare to stand up and defend their ideas, we would likely still be living in the darkness of outdated beliefs, afraid of any form of change. Why are most people with great ideas considered eccentric? Because they see what others do not. They possess a broader vision, a different way of thinking, an ability to connect seemingly meaningless things into something valuable. But the tragedy is, anything unproven is always doubted. People do not like things without precedent. They fear the unknown, and they constantly seek to reject anything beyond their understanding. So if tomorrow you go out and have the opportunity to help someone, just do it, even if it is something small. You may never know how your action has impacted another person, but believe that it can create change, even if only a tiny one. Kindness does not require a specific language, yet it can speak to the whole world. And sometimes, just one kind act is enough to light up a heart. A person with a new idea is always considered a freak until he succeeds. This world has never lacked individuals carrying bold ideas. But the irony is, most of them are met with skepticism, ridicule, and even deemed insane the moment they voice their thoughts. New ideas are always a double-edged sword. They can open up great horizons, but they can also turn their creators into outcasts in society. People do not easily accept differences, especially when those differences challenge deeply ingrained ways of thinking. Imagine one day, you step into a room full of traditionally minded people and tell them you have an idea that could change the world. Chances are, you will be met with sneers, skeptical glances, or worse, cutting mockery. But that does not mean you are wrong. In fact, history has proven that most revolutionary inventions and breakthroughs were once considered absurd before they became reality. The reason a new idea is often labeled as madness is quite simple. Humans tend to cling to what is familiar. They feel safe in their comfort zones, where everything is predefined, where all rules are accepted without question. When someone comes along and says, "I have another way," it is like a knife stabbing into their sense of stability. They resist. They find every way to refute it, and sometimes they attack the idea's creator just to protect their own beliefs. But if everyone hesitated in the face of ridicule, if everyone feared being called a freak, the world would never change. Bridges would never be built over rivers. Airplanes would never take flight. And the inventions that transformed humanity would remain on paper forever. If someone fears opposition from the masses, can they truly persist in pursuing their ideals? Without those who dare to stand up and defend their ideas, we would likely still be living in the darkness of outdated beliefs, afraid of any form of change. Why are most people with great ideas considered eccentric? Because they see what others do not. They possess a broader vision, a different way of thinking, an ability to connect seemingly meaningless things into something valuable. But the tragedy is, anything unproven is always doubted. People do not like things without precedent. They fear the unknown, and they constantly seek to reject anything beyond their understanding. However, the truth is that every change begins with something no one initially believes in. When someone dares to think differently, they may be pushed to the margins, but if they persevere, they will be the ones who define the future. Pioneers always walk a thorny path, endure isolation, and even suffer ridicule. But they are also the ones who have the power to change the game. So, what makes the difference between someone dismissed as a freak and someone who becomes a legend? The answer lies in persistence. An idea only truly holds value when it is pursued to the end, when it is proven by tangible results. When a person succeeds, those who once mocked them will turn around and say, "I always believed in you," even if they never had an ounce of faith before. Success has a strange power. It can turn all skepticism into admiration, transforming someone once deemed crazy into a genius. But before reaching success, everyone must endure harsh trials. There will be times when you feel like you are walking alone on a path no one understands. There will be days when you want to give up because the criticism is too harsh. There will be nights when you question whether you are truly insane. But it is precisely these moments that define who you are. If you give up, you will just be another person with an idea that was never realized. But if you persist, if you keep pushing forward, one day you will be the person who makes the world look back and acknowledge that you were right. No road is paved with roses for those who think differently. They always face skepticism, always battle obstacles, but they are also the ones with the potential to change the world. Great ideas have never come from those who follow the beaten path. They come from those who dare to think differently, who are willing to be labeled freaks, only to one day prove that they saw what others could not. So the question is, are you ready to be a freak? Are you willing to defend your idea when the whole world turns its back on you? Do you have the perseverance to continue even when no one believes in you? If your answer is yes, then remember, this world does not belong to those who merely follow the crowd. It belongs to those who dare to stand alone, to be doubted, to be mocked, only to one day look back and smile when those who once opposed them become their greatest admirers. The human race has only one really effective weapon, and that is laughter. Try to imagine a world without laughter, a place where people live rigidly, seriously, without moments of joy, without the smiles that break down barriers between them. It would surely be a dark, heavy, and barren world, like an empty desert lacking the refreshing streams of joy. While we often seek strength in power, weapons, money, or intelligence, the truth is, the only thing that truly helps humanity survive, overcome adversity, and connect with one another is laughter. There is something magical about laughter that nothing else can replace. It is the only thing that can break down the invisible walls separating people, soothe pain, and help us rise after we stumble. Laughter is not merely a physiological reaction, but also an expression of mental strength, a testament to humanity's strongest survival instinct. When a baby cries upon entering the world, it is its way of communicating with life. But when an adult laughs, it is their way of affirming that they are still alive, still feeling joy amid the storms of life. Laughter is a weapon more powerful than any sword or gun, because it can conquer fear. When people face difficulties, injustices, or the tragedies of life, they usually have two choices. Either let fear consume them, or laugh to make their pain feel lighter. Throughout history, many individuals have used laughter as a way to confront the darkest moments of their lives. The oppressed, the downtrodden, those who find themselves in dire situations, sometimes have nothing to defend themselves with except laughter. It is the one thing that no one can take away from them. There are those who, even when pushed to the edge, still laugh, not because they take their pain lightly, but because they have realized that laughter is the ultimate freedom that no one can steal. A person may lose everything, money, status, even their body, but if they can still laugh, they can still fight against fate. More than that, laughter is the best medicine for wounded souls. When someone is suffering, when their heart is heavy with sorrow, there is only one thing that can make them feel lighter: a hearty laugh. Have you ever noticed that after a long, exhausting day, just hearing a funny story or witnessing a silly moment can lift the weight off your shoulders? That is the miraculous power of laughter. Laughter also has another strength. It connects people. A group of friends can sit and talk for hours, but the moment they burst into laughter together is the moment that truly bonds them. Two strangers may feel awkward and distant, but with just one sincere smile, all barriers disappear. Laughter not only brings people closer, but is also the key to unlocking doors that have been shut by prejudice, suspicion, and hatred. In tense situations where people confront each other with anger, laughter can be the bridge that helps them find common ground. In political negotiations, there have been times when a witty joke has eased tensions that seemed impossible to resolve. Most importantly, laughter teaches us to view life through a lighter lens. When we know how to laugh, we also learn how to accept life's imperfections. The world will not always go our way, But instead of suffering over what cannot be changed, why not laugh and move forward? Laughter helps us understand that life is a game, and sometimes the only way to win is not to take it too seriously. No one lives without encountering suffering, but those who can laugh in the face of pain are the strongest of all. Those who can smile even in adversity have understood the true essence of life, that nothing is permanent, not even pain. And remember, laughter never loses its value. No matter the era, no matter how far humanity advances, laughter will always be the most powerful weapon we possess. Because in the end, it is not strength, not power, but joy that truly allows us to live fully. So, if one day life feels too heavy, if everything seems to be against you, pause for a moment. Find something that makes you laugh, and then keep going. As long as you can laugh, you are still strong. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Some words may seem simple at first, but upon deeper reflection, we realize their profound power. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything is not just a piece of advice. It is an unchanging truth about the nature of honesty and deception, about how human memory operates, and about the spiritual freedom that truthfulness brings. Our lives revolve around words, the things we say every day, the stories we tell, the promises we make, the commitments we uphold, the secrets we keep, or the truths we hide. Some words are as light as feathers, while others weigh as much as boulders. Some truths bring peace, while some lies entangle people in an inescapable spiral. And amid all of this, one undeniable truth stands. If you are always honest, you do not have to struggle to remember anything. Imagine if someone tells a lie. They must remember exactly what they said, to whom, and when. If they slip up, if their words are inconsistent, the deception will be exposed. This is why liars often have to create additional layers of falsehoods to cover up previous lies. A lie never stands still. It needs other lies to reinforce, to conceal, and to maintain its facade. But this creates an enormous burden. Human memory is inherently imperfect. We forget small details of our daily conversations. When we are truthful, our memory does not have to work overtime to retain distorted versions of reality. But when we lie, our brain must store every tiny detail, must cling to every word spoken to avoid being caught. This creates an invisible pressure, making the mind constantly weighed down by the fear that one day, the truth will be revealed. Truth is light. It does not need to be carried, does not require support from fabricated stories. When you tell the truth, you free yourself from the burden of maintaining a false narrative. You do not have to live in fear. You do not have to worry that your words will come back to haunt you. Honest people live far simpler lives than those trapped in deception. They do not need to control every word, do not need to check who knows what, do not always live in a state of vigilance. They can sleep better, speak freely, and interact without fear of contradiction. Nothing destroys a relationship faster than dishonesty. Whether in friendships, love, or family ties, once trust is broken by lies, it is incredibly difficult to restore. A single lie, no matter how small, can plant seeds of doubt. And when doubt arises, everything becomes fragile. Some people use lies to protect themselves, to avoid pain, to escape the consequences of truth. But the cost is immense. When the truth is twisted, even if you are not caught, you still lose a part of yourself. You lose credibility, sincerity, and sometimes even the relationships you once cherished. There is a common misconception that lying can help us escape trouble. In reality, it only delays the inevitable. A lie may temporarily get us out of a difficult situation, but in the long run, it only makes things worse. Many believe that sometimes a gentle lie is better than a harsh truth. But the fact remains, no matter how long you hide the truth, it will eventually surface. And when it does, the consequences will be far worse than if the truth had been told from the start. Every day, we face choices. To tell the truth or to conceal it? To live honestly or to build a facade of lies? The truth may be difficult, but it brings freedom. Lies may seem easy, but they come with invisible chains that keep the soul from ever being at peace. When you choose honesty, you not only protect your own integrity, but also build trust with those around you. You do not have to worry about remembering what you said. Do not have to recall every small detail to keep your story consistent. You can live a simpler, lighter life, and most importantly, you can sleep peacefully at night. Truth is not always easy, but it is always the right choice. And if you choose to tell the truth, you will never have to worry about remembering anything, because the truth will always stand on its own. The truth is the light that illuminates every path in life. It not only frees people from the burden of lies, but also helps us build a solid foundation for trust, respect, and lasting relationships. When you live with the truth, you don't have to look back. You don't have to patch up inconsistent stories, and you don't have to fear that one day everything you've built will collapse. You are free. Free in thought, free in action, free in your very being. In a world where lies are sometimes used to buy trust or create a perfect facade, telling the truth can be a difficult choice. But remember, what comes from sincerity is always enduring, while what is built on deception will eventually fade with time. When you choose to speak the truth, you are not only protecting yourself, but also sending a powerful message to those around you that honesty remains an irreplaceable core value. One can spend a lifetime building a reputation, yet a single lie can bring it all crashing down in an instant. On the other hand, an honest person, though they may face immediate difficulties, will always earn respect and trust in the long run. Those who stay true to themselves may not achieve quick success like those who manipulate the truth. But what they gain is peace of mind, restful sleep each night, and an unshakable trust. When you look back on your life, what matters more? A life filled with lies, always lived in anxiety and fear, or a life that may be challenging, but remains light and unburdened because you have nothing to hide? When the truth is spoken, it may cause temporary pain, but in the long run, it heals. Conversely, lies may conceal the truth for a short time, but ultimately, they only leave deeper wounds. So, if there is one thing you can do to live a more meaningful life, it is to choose the truth. Do not fear facing it, for the truth itself will be your shield against unwanted consequences. Live in such a way that every word you speak is something you can be proud of, so that when you look back, you have no regrets or worries about what you have said. Remember, when you speak the truth, you don't need to memorize anything, because the truth exists on its own, solid, unchanging, and everlasting.